One station making history every day.
Chicago, Chicago.
Now, Jake Hartford.
89 WLS. Too bad you're crazy. Too bad you're loony as hell. So long, it could have been swell together. Too bad you're wacko. How sad your marbles are gone.
All gone.
We could be dancing till dawn, but you're too weird for words. How did you get so strange? You were such a beautiful kid. Now you are so deranged. Was it Mom and Daddy? Something I did?
Too bad you're no.
Too bad.
You should be locked in a cell.
How sad you're great, but hey, what the hell? You're crazy.
You're off the deep
Bon
end.
voyage.
Your life's a practical
Quel
joke.
dommage. I'd bail you out, but I'm broke. Your brain's completely fried. Life's just a party trick to you. Clown jokes and lots of booty-doo. It's time to put that on the shelf.
Nothing you is three-ring circus.
You do look fetching, too bad. It could be catching, egads. I'm a little bit crazy, Mark.
Not true.
Just a little bit crazy, Mark.
Not you.
I'm a little bit crazy myself.
6:08, 8 past 6, hour number 2 of Awake with Jake. Good morning, everybody. How are things? Things are wonderful. Anyway, 591-8900 is the phone number. A lot of stuff we're getting to. We're talking about, if you're just joining us, you missed a good family story about a moose in Idaho. All I'm going to say is, if you didn't hear it, go to the podcast. It'll be worth your while. Lou in Round Lake. Good morning, Lou. Welcome to 89 WLS.
Well, I'm wondering, with these executive orders, if you heard Janet Napolitano there saying, oh, we don't have to worry about these people. And we didn't have to worry about those sweet little guys, Muhammad Atta. He was only going to school to learn how to fly a plane. Such a sweet, dear boy, violating a little immigration status, Oh, what the heck? You know what I'm saying?
Lou, what's the problem? You sound upset.
Well, I'm starting to scratch my head about all this. You're cynical, I'm cynical. But the problem is, this guy is getting away from. So what I'm doing is I'm opening a brothel today, and I'm inviting all his Secret Service agents down to my big brothel. And I got the prettiest girls in Chicago there. It's opening at 10 o'clock today.
That would be against the law, Lou.
Well, I think that's a silly law to enforce. Be an executive order against enforcement of that. I wonder when they're going to do something with the Capitol, like the Reichstag, and then blame it on the Tea Party. When does Obama start getting into real dictator mode here? As we get closer to the election, what other executive orders? Where in the Constitution does it say he can do this? Negate laws that are on the books. Where is that? I've read the Constitution. It doesn't give him that power.
Well, he's not,
Hi-oh to Obama. Hi-oh to Mr. Rahm Emanuel. Hi-oh, Sig Heil. What's going on here?
Well, they have the discretion. And
discretion? What kind of discretion?
Well, it's like a prosecutor. A U.S. attorney has a discretion what they're going to prosecute.
Well, I got discretion to not pay my income tax, and what do they do to me?
Well, you can't. You don't have that discretion.
What do you mean? I don't have that. That thing was never ratified properly.
You don't have that discretion there, Lou.
Let's all do it, and let's get these IRS agents after us, and let's cause a big problem.
I don't even know you. I don't even know who you are.
Well, I'm sorry, government. Here I come.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
If you want to know what Lou's talking about, if you missed it yesterday, the president in the Rose Garden announced what Congress wouldn't pass the DREAM Act. The president went ahead and said the 800,000 young people who came here with their parents, and the parents came here illegally, by the way, he said they're not going to deport them. If they're picked up, they're not going to be deported. Now, Sheriff Joe Arpaio down in Arizona, he said they're going to keep arresting them. If they find them, they're going to arrest them. Now, the controversy about this is there's two stories. The inside story about why this happened yesterday is the president's team got word that Senator Marco Rubio down in Florida was going to announce some sort of program or proposal like this program. And they wanted to steal the thunder before he did. So that's why it was rushed out yesterday. And he's pandering to the Latino vote. Now, this was in the Rose Garden yesterday. He normally doesn't take questions. So a reporter for the Daily Caller shouted out a question. And the question was, since the 800,000 people are going to be able to get work permits, it was a legitimate question, not at the time, though, was why do you favor foreign people over American citizens? And this is the president's response.
This is a temporary stopgap measure that lets us focus our resources wisely while giving a degree of relief and hope to talented, driven, patriotic young people. It is the right thing to do. Excuse me, sir. It's not time for questions, sir. Not while I'm speaking. Precisely because this is temporary. And the answer to your question, sir, and the next time I'd prefer you let me finish my statements before you ask that question, is this is the right thing to do for the American people. Baby, I didn't ask for an argument. I'm answering your question. It is the right thing to do for the American people, and here's why. Here's the reason. Because these young people are going to make extraordinary contributions and are already making contributions to our society.
There you go. Now, when I said it wasn't the right time to do it because the president was right in the middle of his statement, however, the president wasn't going to take questions after he was done with his statement. So this guy from the Daily Caller, the reporter, you heard what he did. And I think they shot that bird, by the way. I don't know. I think it was one of those drone birds. But, I've never seen the president angry like that. He was upset. It was the right thing to do for the American people, he said. You know, in the African-American community, the unemployment rate for the teenagers is 52%. Overall, it's 15% unemployment. I guess they don't need the jobs. The 800,000 Hispanics do. And the president said it's only temporary until after the election. Then it'll go away. Because he knows he'll get the Hispanic vote now because he did that. That's how it works. It's politics. Jim and Joliet, good morning, sir. Welcome to 89 WLS.
Hey, how you doing, man?
What's on your mind?
Yeah, that comment, you were talking about Joy Behar.
Mm-hmm.
That lady, to me, is the most despicable person I've ever seen or heard. Everything that comes out of her mouth is just anger, anger, anger. And I can't even look at her or see her on TV or whatever, because when I do, I get sick to my stomach. And I mean, literally get sick to my stomach. She's the most disgusting person I've ever heard.
I don't know how you get to the point where you say, gee, I hope one of Romney's homes burns down, and he calls the Mormon fire department.
Yeah, it's just so ridiculous what comes out of her mouth. She just hates the Republicans, the conservatives, and she's just so in love with Obama, and you just I don't know. It's just disgusting.
She's a comedian, but it's hard to tell sometimes when she's trying to be funny or not. I don't think she wasn't trying to be funny here.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, Jim.
Yeah, bye.
Mike in Buffalo Grove. Hey, Mike, you're on 89 WLS.
Good morning, Jake. How are you?
Fine, yourself?
Well, typical move. I mean, September of 2010, there was a guy down in Springfield that signed an executive order saying 58,000 state employees weren't going to get laid off at the earliest till June 2012. And who won the election by 29,000 votes?
Yeah.
It's the atypical move. It's the move of the week, and I'm sure there'll be others as the next 4 months of the campaign goes on. As far as the park goes, Americans will appreciate it. What Americans do? By definition, they're breaking a crime by being here. What part of illegal does a man who taught law school not understand?
And I don't think anybody's talking about deporting 12 million people, but according to the Homeland Security Secretary, they have been deporting people.
Illegals. You know, I work at a Fortune 500 company that I'm sure I've got over 1,000 illegals scattered throughout my company. Everybody does. I mean, at the Big Four, where I used to work, they have illegals over in Hyderabad in India that they bring back and forth. I mean, the visa situation with Jeddah and Napolitano and that entire Homeland Security and INS is a total joke. I sponsored somebody 11 years ago. To me, what he did yesterday just basically makes my sponsorship a total waste. I mean, it's basically taking the immigration law and just flushing it down the toilet.
Well, that was always the thing about it when they were talking amnesty is what happens if all the people who've been going through the process the right way, you know, filling out the forms, getting in line and all that stuff, are you just you're going to put them at the back of the line?
7 years. Yeah. Well, the thing is, he's trying to compare himself to what Reagan did in 1986, and he's not Reagan.
Well, what happened in '86, it was a two-part solution. One, they did the amnesty, but number two, they were supposed to do the borders and stuff to keep more people from coming in.
Correct.
And once they did the amnesty and they didn't do the borders, people said, "Hey, we're going to go to the United States because if there's enough of us after a while, they're going to have to do amnesty again." And that's where we are now with the 12 million people.
Right. You know. And like I said, most Fortune 500 companies, in their IT department, their HR department, they're pretty much scattered throughout. I would say a third of because they all have setups in India and China, have people here illegally with the wrong type of visa.
Yeah. Thanks, Mike.
Thanks.
Yeah, I know there are companies that bring kids in. We talked about this a few weeks ago that bring kids in to work in the United States during the summer. And the idea is the government says, well, gee, you can't get U.S. kids to work. Well, yes, you can. There are kids begging for jobs this summer. There are kids graduating from college looking for any kind of jobs. 6:18, back after this in 89 WOS.
89.